Today we are going to be designing a box like this that has dividers, and you're welcome to put as many dividers in there as you want. This has 4 compartments. If you want to add more than just 4, we can do that as well. But you can see if I hide some pieces here, you can see that there's some notches, so everything's going to slide together here. And with just a little bit of glue, everything's going to get locked together there and work out pretty well. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and get started. You are going to start with a box that looks like this. I have the template in our website for you. And before we get going too far, everything in this folder, in here, you're not going to need to play with. But these variables in here, you might need to change. If you want to change the size of your box and make the box, instead of 5 inches long, maybe you want it 6 inches long, or whatever that is, there's going to be the size constraints on our website. So you can't make this a giant box. Look at those dimensions for the maximum size we can do. And you can see we'll play around with those. And you can always come back and change those later if you need to as well. But for now, let's go ahead and start designing. You noticed on the other box, we did not have a lid. So the first thing we want to do is come down here and click on the top piece here from our parts list. I'm going to delete that, push delete, and say OK. Now you see that we do not have a lid on there. But then you also will notice that we have all these little notches for the lid, and we're going to try and hide those. So we're going to come here and extrude. And first, let's do it on both sides of this blue piece. So we're going to click there, and we're going to click there. And all these little gaps we want to fill in. Notice it's making different color pieces here because it's saying new pieces. We want to add the pieces, and with merge scope, we want to click add to this piece and this piece. I'm only doing the 2 opposite sides right now. And then for the depth, we're going to do this fun little thing called up to face. So we don't have to put in a direction, a measurement here, a dimension. And so that's just going to extrude it up to this surface. And then it'll stop right there. And then that should be good for us. And look at that. We got the 2 end pieces are looking pretty good now. And we're going to repeat that for the 2 other sides. And as always, as I'm doing this, feel free to pause the video and do what I'm doing. And remember, we want to add there so that you can do what I'm doing. Pause the video, and I'm selecting merge scope again, making sure I join it with those pieces. And there we go, right? So hopefully you are up to speed with me now. The next thing we want to do is create another one of these pieces, but we want to create it over here in the center of the box. So we are going to push this, and we're not creating a sketch right now. We are going to create a linear pattern, and we're going to select this surface. That's the piece that we want to repeat. And then the direction, we are going to select any line that's going in the direction that we want. So going in this direction. I could click on this line. I could click on that line down there, some tiny little line right there. Any of those lines will do. And you'll start to see that piece is starting to show up over there. It's going the wrong direction though right now, so we'll click over there. And if you want this to be just 1 divider, you'll say put 2 there, so it's 1 and 2. Or if you want 3 dividers in there, you can put that in there. Where you put these dividers is really up to you. But if you want to make them perfectly all the same, that's going to be related to the length of the box, because the length is the direction in this direction here, is the measurement in this direction. So I'm going to type in for the distance, I'm going to say length divided by 3. And this isn't going to be perfectly correct, and I want to show you why here. It's going to be slightly off. That might be a little hard to see. I'm going to change that back to 2 for a second. So this is length divided by 2 now, in case you're doing just 2 compartments. And that's going to be slightly off. It's kind of hard to tell there, but you can see it's slightly further to the left here. So the reason being is, let's delete that fully. And when you pattern that, if you go fully, the full length, you'll notice it patterns it to the outside edge there. So what we need to do is length minus thickness. And this gets a little yucky, and I'll put this on, if this whole little piece here, this little equation that we're putting in here, I'm going to have this on our website so you can see it for the directions page. And this is divided by 2 in my case, because I'm only going to put 2 compartments in there. That equation here, I know you can't see the whole thing, will be on the website though. So go check that out. And you'll see now that that is showing up perfectly centered in that piece now. That's what we're looking for. All right. And I'm going to say OK. And now I'm going to hide that left side so that I can see this piece here. So now I want to create a notch in this. So like you saw here, this middle piece had a notch going in it. So we are going to put that notch in this piece here. So we're going to look at it from that view, and I'm going to say new sketch. I'm going to sketch on this surface right there. If you can see that, that's on that piece that I want to do. And we are going to put a little line to find the center. It's going to help us out. And we are going to put a, here we go, a line like this. That's going to be our piece there, our notch. I'm going to mirror that, and then I'm going to create that notch like so. And I'm going to finish my mirror. And now let's dimension that so it comes out to be the right size. So the distance from here to here should be the thickness of the wood, so that's a nice snug fit, just like when we've done interlocking pieces. That's going to be the thickness of the wood. And then the length of this, again dimensioning from here to here, that should be, well, it's kind of up to you a little bit, but I want mine to be nice and symmetrical, so I'm going to say the height divided by 2. So it's going halfway down. And I was already pretty close there, but now you can see it's exactly 1 because my height was 2 inches there. All right. So we're using those variables over here whenever we possibly can, so that if you ever change those, it automatically changes these notches for you, which is super cool. So let's call that good, and we're going to click OK there. And now we're just going to extrude that, and I'm clicking on those 2 little pieces there, and I want to remove, because I want to remove some material there. And you'll see it starts to show up, looking pretty good. And the distance is just going through only this piece. And if the merge scope is not selected already, you need to click on that piece here that's going through the center. So we're only putting the notch through that piece. If you are making more than one divider, you need to extend that notch to go through both pieces. But you don't want that going through the wall there. All right, so we're cruising now. Hopefully, again, you're pausing this video as I repeat these steps there with you. So let's show that piece again. And now we are going to do another pattern to put that second piece in there, the divider going the other direction. So again, we're going to do a linear pattern, and I'm going to select this piece. That's the part I want to repeat. The direction is any line going in that direction there. So this line would work, that itty bitty one, this one would work, any of those lines would work. That's going the wrong direction, so I'm going to flip that around. And we are going to have to try and figure out the distance again. So let's see, this would be the width of the box this time. So let's type in W for width. And then just as before, it's going to be minus the thickness, because if I just leave it there, you'll see it goes to the outside of the box. So it's the width minus the thickness. And you'll see that now lines up when I change that. It's actually right on top of that other piece there. And now we have width minus thickness. I have to put that in parentheses. And then I can divide that by 2. And then if you are ever in doubt, you can always come here and get real close, and it needs to be absolutely perfect or else it will not fit in there correctly. All right, and now you might start to notice, hey, what about this stuff on the outside? That looks like it's running into the outside. There's no hole in that outside piece yet. That's what we're about to fix. So now we're going to click on this thing called Boolean, which is like a Venn diagram looking thing here. So let's start using Boolean to do some subtraction here. We're going to subtract some things. So the tool is the thing doing the cutting. The target is the thing getting cut. So if we kind of hover over it, you can see which the shape, if it's kind of hidden here. So this piece does not have the notch in it. So that is going to be the target. This one has the notch. That is going to be the tool. So the tool is going to be this piece. The target is going to be this piece. And that's going to cut that notch in there for us. You'll see that piece kind of goes away there. And then while we're at it, this piece on the side also needs to get a notch cut in there. And you'll see that notch now gets cut in there as we click on it. And boom, same thing over there. That notch is getting cut. And then we can't forget about the bottom, even though it's hard to see right now. We need to cut some notches in there, and you'll see that notch shows up there. So on the targets list, we should have 4 things, or maybe 5 if you have more dividers than I have here. And I'm going to say OK. Ooh, actually, don't say OK yet. We need to keep the tool. See how this fades out to gray here? We need to say keep the tool. And so that piece does not disappear and get deleted. And we'll say OK. Now that's going to have all those notches put in there for us. If you hover over the parts, you can kind of see that the notches are in there correctly. And then you're going to have to repeat that to put the notches in the side piece and the bottom piece going in this other direction here. So repeating, going up to Boolean again. I know this is a lot of steps, but hopefully you're pausing the video as you go. And you're going to push subtract. And the tool this time is going to be this center divider. The targets are going to be this wall that does not have a hole in it yet. The bottom that does not have the hole in it for this other piece. You'll see it shows up there now, right? And then finally, this other side, boom, you got the holes in that piece now as well. And we're going to say keep tools again, so that does not disappear. And we're going to click OK. And now you officially have a box that is ready to be laser cut out. But there's a few more things you might want to think about here. So if you are making this box to fit something specific, you might want to click on 2 surfaces like that, the inside surfaces, and then the distance here in the bottom right of your screen is going to tell you how far apart those surfaces are. So if you want something to fit in there and be a nice snug fit, you want to measure that object and make sure that those 2 surfaces are the correct distance apart. And then you can do the same thing between other surfaces. Notice I clicked off here, selecting that surface and that surface. That's telling you the distance this way in that box, so we can double check that and make sure it's looking good for us. And then you can always come back and change your variables if you want to change the side of the box. Just notice this is the length of the outside of the box. That's from this point to this other point is 6 inches. The inside dimensions of the box are going to be different. So play with that a little bit and make sure things fit for you. You can change the size of the box now also. So if you said, oh, you know, actually it doesn't want to be 6 inches, I want that to be 4 inches. The cool thing about using all those variables throughout the whole thing is that it automatically changes the size of the box now for you, and everything will still work out correctly if we entered all our values correctly. There's going to be another video here that is going to show you how to do a couple of little decorations on your box. So stay tuned for that. If you are looking to do that, I'll see you soon. Feel free to ask some questions.